I'm LP Master 6, and welcome to Sitting 2 of Game & Watch Gallery 2. Which, of course, as every internet article points out now, is not the second game in the Game & Watch Gallery series. How fascinating. Game Boy Gallery is actually good, though, so feel free to check that out on my channel. God damn it, So I had a failed take where I, played Modern Chef first. I'm going to be doing Classic Chef first, so let's go ahead and get into that. But for some reason, Ball was highlighted when I turned on the game. Maybe we unlocked something there last. I still think it's fascinating. It saves what game you last played and keeps that highlighted when you turn it on. I don't know why. It's so arbitrary, but so... It's satisfying that that's a thing. But I paused when I reset the game, so it saved the interrupt save. So I tried to delete that data, but it saved it after all. I don't think we unlocked anything from that, though. I guess I can go see how many stars we have really quickly. There, I cut out a whole 2 seconds. Let's go ahead and get into Classic Chef. Chef? We're off to a great start again. And essentially, A and B are the same as left and right, again, in this game. Now, Modern Chef, this is one of the reasons I feel like... The reason the games are in the order they're in is because this was the order they were made, designed, programmed, whatever. And they just get more convoluted with the modern remakes as time goes on, which isn't necessarily a good thing because the simplicity of the Game & Watch is half the charm. And Chef here, nice and simple. Surprisingly difficult because you don't know how far up things are going to fling. You only have 3 things to worry about here, but like sometimes you'll fling the fish, for example, all the way up the screen, and then other times it'll go up 2 pixels, or 2 frames, whatever, because we don't go by pixels here. See, it's very hard to coordinate. We already have a miss. You know what? You can go all the way over here for reasons we'll figure out later. Let's go ahead and get our hint for a game over. Because I believe in us. Alright, exit. I posted a hint for this game on the noteboard. Read it to find a useful strategy. Thank you very much. We will go check that out post-haste. Yes, the noteboard, thank you. Chef Classic hint. Classic mode. It's helpful if you learn the order that the food moves. Watch out, the flip heights are random. So, I don't understand. How are you going to learn the order that the food moves? Is that a hint that's actually going to help me? I'm going to pay more attention now. I have never gotten 1,000 points in this game. I didn't practice it that much. I know I can get at least 600. So I'm not worried about that. The order that the food moves. Well, now I'm stuck on this riddle here. But not only that, the cat will drop... I do think it's hilarious that there's just a cat sitting there. And he will randomly stick a fork out. And if he touches the food on the left, he'll stick it for a long period of time. But it's completely random when and for how long he'll do it. So, like, he could hold it there forever, and sometimes he'll hold it there for just a second, which negates the flip height, because after he lets go of it, it will fall. So the game's pretty simple. We can wonder what food this is. Now, obviously, if we drop it, a mouse gets it. Even though this is all meat, so if you drop it on a kitchen floor, like, you can't use it anymore anyway, especially not if you're wearing a chef outfit. That implies you're cooking in a restaurant, or at least for a large group of people. Which, again, why only 3 small meaty objects? I think the second one is bacon. The third one's obviously fish. Like a whole-ass trout or something. And the first one is... I've always assumed sausage. So I don't want to eat any of the stuff this guy's cooking. Even before I was vegan, I didn't like bacon, seafood, or... Also, I hate the term seafood. Because, like, people look at fish and think seafood. And as a vegan, of course, I'm opposed. So, I'll pretend this is vegan stuff. Not really. I don't care. This is a video game. Okay, I'm not going to be like PETA. I went on this rant in Mario 64 Rumble Pack version about how PETA needs to calm down with using animals in phrases and such. But we're not going to go on that rant here. The cat cracks me up, though, how he has this little basket he's curled up in, but his head is huge and his neck is so thin. I just think the design of these games are really good. I was finishing my Super Metroid Let's Play last night, which, man, I said some interesting things in there. But I've definitely grown as a person between the start of the channel and even 2021 when that was recorded. But still, that's besides the point. I saw in the credits a man, the producer, named Makoto Kano. And I thought, I've never even heard of this man before. So I looked him up, and he produced a number of titles. He's the one who came up with the concept for the Metroid, Kid Icarus, and Famicom Wars, aka just the Wars series, the Nintendo Wars series. So very important figure, but he mostly went on to do artwork for a while before just becoming a general advisor. See, oh my god, they're always just a frame apart, the fish and the sausage, and it's very, very difficult to deal with. So you gotta have cat-like reflexes, how fitting, to, oh my god. Of course, it can, ooh, you do get a little leeway. It'll tell you that in a secret, I think. And that's unlike the modern version. Pretty much everything I like about this version is not in the modern version. The modern take on this game is okay. I don't dislike it. It's still fun. But again, misses the point of the simplicity and everything. But again, failed take. I'm ashamed because I wanted there to be no evidence of that in the save data. But, oh, I'm getting a call. I bet it's from Cody, because he calls me every time I record. But my phone's across the room, so I'll never know. But it just pisses me off. I put it in Do Not Disturb, and no matter what, I still get calls when I'm in Do Not Disturb. Ever since I called Straight Talk and said I'm not getting calls at all, now they made it where I always get every call. I cannot screen a call. I can block a number, but that's about it. But I went on this rant about how I tried to record this like 3 times and failed. This is my 3rd time trying to record this sitting. But my friend David was over 3 days in a row. He was using our shop. Because for those who don't know, manly men like to have big sheds, garage places where you can put cars, lawnmowers, etc. and work on them. And just work on different manly projects. And they call it a shop. My dad has one. Except you can't roll a car into it. It's off the ground. You can see it on Billy Blue's Talk Show. My old YouTube series. But I'm not going to get into that here. I assume nobody's watching this as my first Let's Play. Where they've seen me. I'm going to assume you have all seen me before, essentially. But yeah, we have one of those, and we never use it. So our friend David is using it to paint in. But he's been over and talking every time I got off work early enough to record afterwards. So I spent the whole time doing something with him. And then it was like, well, time to go to bed. Can't do anything for myself. Not that I don't enjoy spending time with David, of course. But he has not been here the past 2 days because it's snowing. It's a snow day today. I'm supposed to be at work. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day today. Sometimes referred to as Martin Luther King Day. Sometimes referred to as Dr. Martin Luther King Day. But I've never seen it referred to as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Or, sorry, I forgot Junior. So add Junior to all those possibilities. There's so many official names for this day. But I'll go with whatever the Wikipedia article says. Good commentary. And then I went on this rant about how, my wife's grandfather had it, except I said Jessica's grandfather, and that's what made me stumble all over my words, because I've never said my wife's name in a recording. Other people have said it, but I've never said it. And so it's weird, because I don't ever say her name to her face. She used to have a good bit of name anxiety, and she didn't like, being called anything. That issue is more common than you think. So I just always call her pet names. But now I didn't say her name to other people either. It just felt weird coming out of my mouth. But then my mom would get annoyed when I wouldn't call her by her name. You know, Nathan Baslaw. And so I started, you know, saying my wife's name more often. And then I made a conscious effort because I think she has a very pretty name. She thinks it's a very, very generic white person name. Which, I mean, I guess is a little true. Man, that sausage does not flip high at all. It's the only reason this game is difficult. Because it just does not sync. It syncs too well to where I have to button mash across the screen. I didn't even realize we're already at 400 something points. I don't know how far we'll get to. I don't remember what I said in this take, but I'm hoping for at least 600. Yeah, I said that in this take. Whew. Also, I turned down the game audio because I seemed quieter today. Also, my eyes are really going to hurt because of the snow, but oh my god, I love snow days. They make me just want to sit around and play Sims and Animal Crossing and, oh, just stuff I did as a kid, you know, because I'm a delivery driver. If there's snow on the ground at all, I can't go to work, or I risk being stuck in the snow. Because if there's snow anywhere, that means there's snow somewhere. Somewhere I may end up going, even if all the main roads are safe to drive on, which, I mean, today I'm sure they mostly are, but, you know, it snowed at night, so they can't all be possibly cleared yet. But I was just going to work 9 to 5 today. It's a Monday. I'm sure the money's good right now because it's snowy outside. But yesterday, even when it started snowing, nobody was tipping more than like $3. So I just went home. I was going to go home anyway. My wife made lasagna. And my dad called me. So I talked to my parents for a bit, and while I was on the phone, my wife dropped a whole slab. Like, she sat it on a plate, which she had sitting on the stove, balancing on the stove, but the lasagna was too heavy, so the plate didn't drop, which was the funny part. I just watched the lasagna slide and topple off, and it made a splat sound when it hit the floor. It was a whole, like, sixth of our lasagna. Oh... But I ate the rest of it already this morning while finishing my Super Metroid Let's Play, so I'm satisfied. My wife always gives me too much food and refuses to eat more herself because she's too nice and too sweet, so this is dedicated to her. Oh, how fitting to talk about what she cooked, because this is Chef. Oh yeah! I really didn't think I'd have the energy to be able to efficiently start off with good commentary a classic game, but I thought my commentary for Classic Helmet was good, and it's good, ironically. I cracked up. My wife was in here while I was editing it, and, oh, we were losing it. Everything I said was just ridiculous. I went on about the door graphic, and I called it a special... Here's something especially interesting. Look at the doors in this 1981 game. Like, come on. Don't even give me that. I was cracking myself up. And afterward, I was like, man, it didn't even feel like I recorded for 4.5 hours. Well, it does now. So we'll see how long I record today. I'm not doing anything. Probably not doing anything tomorrow either. We were supposed to go to a birthday. But that will probably have to be rescheduled, depending on the roads. Oh, man. This food is not looking tasty. I'm feeling dehydrated, but I can imagine that the chef is too, because it's always hot in the kitchen. For those of you that have never worked in a kitchen, it's hot in the kitchen. You know, I was a Pizza Hut manager, and I tell everybody I was about to become the general manager of my Pizza Hut right before it closed. That may not even be true. I was clearly next in line, you know. My boss was going to refer me, and I would have been the manager, possibly. But only possibly had she referred me in time, but she thought I didn't want the job, because I told her before I didn't. And then I was upset that she didn't refer me, and she said, I thought you didn't want the job. You never told me you did. And I was like, oh, you're right, my bad. We just got a miss at 692. You know I don't like it if I get a miss before 700, so I am upset. But that was our first miss of the entire recording, like today, so I'm happy. I'm very satisfied with this. Ooh. You know, that middle one could be a weird pancake, but I think it's bacon. But why wouldn't they have him flipping a pancake? Ooh! Man, that is too close for comfort. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, no, my eyes are going to hurt because the snow is so bright. I normally have my light turned on in my room so I don't hurt my eyes. Because it's just, there's not enough natural light in here. The room's too small. And I have my giant CRT television that I'm using right now blocking the window. Because one day it's going to destroy my entertainment center and just slide off. And hopefully not kill a cat who's under it or something. We were going to have a cat actually in here today, Albert. He's one of our calmest cats, but setting up made him wake up, and then he just walked around the room and wanted out, so you are actually going to have a cat in here with me for once. I don't know if you've ever gotten to hear my cats meowing, because I love when I hear cats meowing in the background of Let's Plays, except that it upsets my cats when they hear it, because they think there's a cat in our house. And I can't just tell them that's in a video because they don't understand, English that well. And of course, I said that well. That wasn't a joke. They do understand some English. Don't underestimate the brain of a cat. Because they'll understand things you start to tell them. They know their names and stuff. I mean, you've played Nintendogs. You know they can learn this stuff. Although, I doubt you can make, you can teach anybody to sneeze on command, except maybe an actor, but I haven't seen that many, scenes with fake sneezing. I've been listening to the Office Ladies podcast, and that's been really nice, because The Office is my favorite show. A lot of my favorite things are all I'm generally not a hipster, but a contrarian to things where, my favorites are always weird. Computer? You okay? What was that? That was a very bad place to pause. Am I overloading my computer with this Game & Watch gallery game right now? Oh! Oh my god. Using A and B makes things so difficult. Because A... Well, I was doing this on the Game Boy too, but... On the GameCube controller, it's especially weird because A is so big. Oh my god, just a few more points. And we'll have 900 and it'll slow down again. Oh my god. Are we going to get 1,000 on the first try? I really got to focus up like Michael Bolton. And yes, that was a Lonely Island reference. Oh. Okay, alright. What was I saying? I've been listening to the Office Ladies podcast, so I've been thinking a lot about actors and acting and, etc. So if you hear me make references to The Office a bunch, I'm not even watching The Office. I've watched it all the way through 3 or 4 times. I don't know how I can't remember. Okay. Oh, shit. Ooh. This is tense. That's what I like about these games. And that's what made them kind of popular in the first place. They're not shooting games. They're not little puzzle games. They're weird, real-world scenarios, just cartoonized. And it's really nice. You get really into this simple LCD game about flipping 3 items. And it's really charming. So I thought we were going to struggle more with Chef because it's not one of my favorites. I like it, but it's not nearly one of my favorites. Oh my god. We did it! Did the game just slow down back to its normal self? Alright, we're going to stop. You guys are probably bored anyway. Alright, let's go over here to this slot. Ooh, my leg is so itchy. Now, I did have an interesting story I wanted to tally up on a video. Museum title and a secret. Well, let's go check them all out. Lifeboat! I don't think I've ever actually played Lifeboat. Maybe. I don't know. This song's really good. Game Boy music is so... Oh, it's so good. People are always talking about DS and Wii nostalgia. Music and how distinct that is. And it is. Sorry, I'm hiccuping. But Game Boy music is just such a specific flavor. Oh, it's so good. Even when the food falls to the bottom, you still have a little time. Just don't wait patiently at the bottom. I know I read that wrong. It's okay. I forgive myself. Alright, my eyes are already hurting looking at this TV. Oh, and did I ever finish my sentence on that? It's because the snow is so bright out my window. Oh, I forgot about stupid Modern. That star that's there. It's bugging the hell out of me. Alright, I'm gonna cut out me drinking some water for a minute. Okay, that was about a minute. This! Oh boy! All of the 1981 era Game & Watch games have to make things so much more complicated just by adding one little thing. In this case, a fourth food. Now, I'm not... This is also... No, it looks like a carrot. Or... Well, no, not when it's at certain positions when it's flipping up. It doesn't look like a carrot at all. It looks more like a thicker root. Like a, I don't know, a radish or something. I've never eaten anything with radish in my life. I need to try more vegetables, because I love vegetables. I do not like fruit. I would love to give them more of a chance, but the only sweet things I like are chocolate and maple syrup. That's about it. I can't think of anything else. There's a couple candies, but I mostly like sour candies. But actually thinking about it is... Just thinking about it is hurting my teeth. I can't eat Sour Patch Kids anymore. My favorite candy that's not like chocolate or something is Sour Patch Kids Extreme. I also love, and I haven't found them since I was a kid, sour green apple Airheads. The sour Airheads, just regular. I never really liked the Extremes. You know, those little rainbow strips. They don't taste like Airheads or anything. They're okay. They just taste even more like processed, you know, food dye and stuff than regular Airheads do. To the point where it's not that good. Oh, I like that. Like, this is where the leeway the game gives you on food falling to the ground really comes into play. So you can be practically a whole frame off, which is very generous. And I wonder, are you like changing the flow of the game that way by changing the frames in which the foods are flipped? Also, if you flip something 1,000 times, I think it's done. So just put the food down. This chef is... This is not food safe at all. The cat has practically pawed at the food, the sausage. Just give him the sausage, cut your losses, or do what I do sometimes. If the cats that go up to the stove and take like a noodle, he didn't last night, but Simon usually steals an entire lasagna noodle, and it's really funny because he'll start growling and running around with the lasagna noodle. You know, we'll throw the noodle away because he did not earn that noodle, you know. He had to be a bitch and steal it when he knew he wasn't supposed to. So he gets put in the bitch zone. Which, I don't like locking them up in a cage. You know, it's a big cage. We're not really confining them much. And it's open. You know, it's not scary or anything. It's mostly to isolate them and make them think about what they've done. Usually we only do it when they're fighting. We don't lock him up for stealing food, usually. Unless he's just repeatedly doing it and there's nothing we can do. But normally we just put the food in the oven, you know, without the oven being on so he can't get to it. But, yeah, don't get me started relating that to a whole rant on how to, you know, how I think spanking your kids is bad. Yes, I know, that's a very liberal thing to think for all you conservatives out there, but... I'm sorry, I just don't think it's great. My best friend Cody does it. Not hard or anything, but I'm like, you know, that's one of the biggest things where we differ. You know, on whether that's okay. But he's a great dad, so it's okay. You know, none of my business. But let's stop talking about, you know, whether my friends spank their kids or not. I don't have human children. I may never have human children. Well, let's not get into that either. That requires a lot of personal information on my wife's part. And she is not as much of an open book to society in YouTube videos about Game & Watch games as I am. So we'll leave her out of it. I wanted to tell a story. because I really have nothing to say about this game, but I wanted to document something that happened to me between recording sessions. Now, this is a good work story. I've told some boring work stories, but this one was just like because, I'm listening to the Office Ladies podcast. I'm thinking about how the writers will take awkward moments from their life. And I didn't think this was awkward. We didn't handle it awkwardly, but it could have been really awkward. Now, I've been taking a lot of Walmart orders. But even before that, where I actually have to go into Walmart, shop, and scan things and then leave. And they just check my exit pass on my app. For the Spark Driver platform. It's pretty great. But, now... Oh, my God. This is a lot to keep up with. It's so far easier than I thought. And I'm doing way better than I thought I would do on the first try. Like, way better. But before that, I kept seeing this girl who worked there in the parking lot while I didn't have any orders. I park in the Walmart parking lot. And just sit there and wait. And I'll glance at her sometimes. And she'll glance at me sometimes. Because there's just another person with their window down in the Walmart parking lot. But she actually works at Walmart. We finally exchanged words, when she was checking my exit pass when I was leaving. So I felt like, oh great, she knows what I do, and I don't just sit in the parking lot, eating Oreos in the hot sun for hours at a time. Which doesn't usually happen. Business has got to be really bad for me to sit there for hours at a time. Usually if I sit there for more than 2 hours, I just call it a day and go home. Nice and early. Oh, but business is so good in January, it doesn't matter. Sorry, tangent. And she had checked, she told me she didn't have to check my order because everything was in a bag. Which they always tell me that. There's this old guy, and I'm like, do you want to check my exit pass? Every time I see him, and he says, well, there isn't any such thing, so... And I try to show him, and I don't know if he thinks I'm pulling a prank on him, or if he's just mad that it's not a paper receipt, but he just doesn't check. I could steal from Walmart so easily. Whatever I wanted. It would be ridiculously easy. They just check for things that aren't in a bag. They tell me they don't care about anything that's not in the bag. Man. It's crazy, though, that we live in a world where, like, $15 an hour, and I get this, I relate to this. I'm not judging the people, the employees or anything, believe me. Like, $15 an hour still isn't enough to care about something like that. I just think that's fascinating. And I agree, sometimes somebody will tip me, like, $10, and I'm like, they're still not going to get the best treatment, depending on my mood. I often go nicely and above and beyond, especially for Instacart orders, except that Instacart orders are, I'm sorry, another tangent from my story, but whatever, we got time, it's okay. Instacart orders are like percentage tips. They'll tip based on how much they are paying in groceries, which is ridiculous, because they could order $1,001 things, or one, like, tiny $500 item, and that makes no difference to me. It's the amount of items I have to look for that matters, and sometimes how bulky they are, like water packages are a little annoying and stuff, but it's based on how much they spend. So if they're out of something, I'm incentivized to to find a more expensive option instead of ever saving them money, which is ridiculous. Like, it shouldn't work that way at all, especially when they tip so much, a lot of the time. I have one customer who tips she usually tips at least $80, and it's insane, and I greatly appreciate her business. And she always shops at Sam's Club. But okay, enough of the tangent. So I go in for just one nugget ice maker, a fancy ice maker like my sister just had to have. Kind of like Sonic Ice. And it was like $200-something, and I didn't have a cart, so I didn't know how big it was going to be. It said 44 pounds, so I was like, okay, no problem. So I'm just walking around, I scan it, and then I go. And then the girl I've been talking about was at the door, checking exit passes and receipts and stuff. And she said, "You on a cart, hun?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I could use the exercise." And I said it. She said, "Well, I'm sorry, I am gonna have to check your thing." And I was like, yeah, it's okay. Gives me a break. And she said, you sure you don't want a card? I was like, yeah. That's when I said I could use the exercise. And then, you know, the security guard next to her, because they sometimes have security guards in there for some reason that just stand there at the door. And he starts doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression very loudly at me out of nowhere. And, you know, everybody's laughing and having a good time, so it's really not awkward, but, man, it could have been real. He was just, like, doing the, yeah, pump it, yeah, how. I can't do the impression at all, but, you know, like, Proton John does it very well. And he was doing the motions with his arms, and it was funny. And I didn't know what to do. He just kept doing it, so I said, thank you very much, I love it. I love the motivation. And then the girl laughs and says to me, see you tomorrow. And then she went, and like, you could tell she was like, why did I say see you tomorrow? I, in fact, did not see her the next day. Oh, no. I'm very thankful, though, that it resets all the food. Oh, if you make a mistake. Yep, I knew that was going to fall. Oh. Oh, now I'm out of the zone. Now that we got our first miss. Again, before 700, I don't like it. Okay. Go me. Go LP Master 6. Go LP Master 6. Oh, we got this. We fucking got this. Now, I don't want to get too cocky. I've never made it to 1,000. I think... No... I don't know, because my original playthroughs of all the Game & Watch Gallery games, except 4, which I had as a kid, I did use save states after playing all the games a few times each. Like, I was like, no. And then I never 100%ed them even with save states. Even Game & Watch Gallery 3, which is on the Switch. So feel free to go check that out. Oh my god. You really gotta have fast thumbs here. You can hear the clacking intensify on my controller. Why are you flipping the carrot anyway? Just, it's done. If you're flipping everything, it's not even gonna cook. You're just showing off. To who? The cat and the mouse? You don't even want either of them to be here. Kick the cat out. Well, I assume this guy's not the boss of the restaurant, and the boss is like, no, my cat will stay. Which, of course, the health inspector's not going to like that one bit. So this could be the guy's home, and, I don't know, his wife, husband... Oh, fuck! Do I want to give that another try? Yeah, we only got 3 stars. I know I can get 800. Let's give it a shot. I think I'm done. I got a game over at 4:38, so I've lost my mojo. And I've been having a lot more fun recording Gallery 2 than Gallery 1. Because, you know, we don't have to get specific scores in each specific game. You know, we just have to get a certain number of stars overall. And if I'm bad at Classic Chef, then I'm bad at Classic Chef, you know? I mean, look at that. We've gotten pretty good scores already. And I know a lot of the other games are going to be pretty easy. Classic Ball and Classic Vermin I'm quite good at. And they're quite easy, which is probably why I'm good at them. But next time, we will finally play Modern Chef. So I won't be bitching about that star on the screen anymore. Also... Classic Chef is really good. It's in the same vein, I noticed, as Parachute and Fire and most of the classic Game & Watch games. You just have to line up yourself at a specific moment and not press a button, other than left or right, to make something happen. It's exactly what Ball, Vermin, Parachute, Fire, Chef, several others all are. You just have to be in a specific spot at a specific time out of 3 or 4, you know, frames. And that's fine. They're all pretty much the same, but they're all stylized differently. But you can really tell the time crunch Yokoi was under when he made these games. Because, you know, the president, Hiroshi Yamauchi, would just be like, need 4 more Game & Watch games, design them now. And there you go. but we've told that story a million times. It's just, you can really feel that if you pay attention to the design of the games. But okay, I will see you next time. I spent 44 minutes on Classic Chef, and we'll be doing Modern Chef. I'm LP Master 6.